Hey guys, it's Comics G-Man. It's great to be on tonight. I had a long day at work and I didn't think I would have the energy to do another daily comic super news moment. But I have to do this every day at least. And it just feels good to do this. And anyone who is listening and any of my intellectual commenters that show up here and there, thank you for being here. Thank you for the thumbs up and the support. And here, let's go by the news. Let's see if there's any updates on Supergirl, and we'll also look at any Superman news that has been popping up. Now, look, there's some interesting stuff coming up, but let's start off. Let's see what's older first, see what we missed. All right, so that was 2 days ago. 1 day ago, folks are dumping on the new Supergirl. But what? All right, so we already know about Helen Slater, and I saw something about Helen Slater saying that she will not tolerate anyone ragging on the Supergirl movie. So it sounds like they're paying her more to rag on the fandom that is genuinely not liking this movie. But I don't know if that shows up on this feed. But I saw it today while I was on my break at work. Looking through the news feed, I saw it, so it might or might not pop up on here. 3 scrapped Woman of Tomorrow ideas that would have made Supergirl better. We don't care, because the movie is done already. It doesn't matter now. It's over. You know, the toothpaste is out of the bottle. You know, you can't put that toothpaste back in. So who cares? USA Today, 17 hours ago. Why the Supergirl movie provides us a cautionary tale. I'm curious. Let's see, what cautionary tale does USA Today share with us? All right. Millie Alcock's comments before Supergirl release were a clinic in how to alienate half your potential audience. The box office results speak for themselves. Wow, USA Today is being honest about something here. Okay, that's cool. I guess they're not so bad. Let's see more on what they say. The problem with living in an echo chamber, aside from being boring, is that you start to assume everyone agrees with you because you've curated an existence where you hear only from people who do. What plays out on social media and in the news exists in the entertainment industry too. And it's so true, though. You can't have a different opinion with most people today because so many people through social media are in these like echo chambers. So the moment you have a different opinion, you're completely outcasted from their little tribe. It's really pathetic. The average person can simply unfollow or block any displeasing voice that sneaks past the algorithm, but the ramifications of that same instinct, played out in the real world, can run into the tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. Just ask Supergirl. The movie, which bombed even by the standards of a film expected to bomb, cost $170 million to make and roughly that much again to market. It's amazing that they're telling the truth about the marketing part because as much as I love Superman 2025, I understand the truth that it was not a financial success. But at the time, people were ragging about it and saying that the marketing it didn't make up for the amount of money that it put in, but they were hiding the marketing fact. Like everyone, the articles were just talking about how much they put towards the movie, but they were omitting the marketing part. But now it looks like they're finally telling the truth about the marketing part of the movie, so that's a step up. That's a steep bet for producers hoping to reach as broad an audience as possible. Supergirl flexed superpower and how to alienate an audience. It had to crush producers that star Millie was regularly quoted in the news media saying things that seemed designed to alienate half her audience. And look, like I said in my videos though, I'm going to say most of the stuff that she said is not even like the worst things in the world that I have heard a celebrity say. I don't even think it was that bad. But in today's climate, like even the people on the right are just as sensitive to this stuff as the people on the left, like overly sensitive, like even the little, because it's been so many years now of people just being broken down with this nonsense. So now like they're just so tuned out and tired of this shit that even the littlest thing, even if there's like no malevolence in it and it's just like stupidity, like what Millie did, it was just goofiness. They're shut off to what you're doing. So that's just the reality of the current climate now of how people are. That's just the reality. Millie Alcock is embracing queer interpret. She's not embracing shit. She's just talking stupid stuff because some gay interviewer asked her a silly question and she answered it in a silly manner as well. It wasn't that big of a deal in my opinion. I've had a few people ask me about her because it's Pride Month and all that, and I felt well, they're just repeating what she said. We all know what she said, that Supergirl would go both ways. But if you look in context how Millie was saying it, it wasn't that serious, dude. Like she looked drunk or something. Who cares? And like honestly, it's not that big of a deal. But like I said, sensitive times, sensitive climate. People are tired of it. That may not seem like much on its own, but it shows where her instincts go when given a chance. It's the kind of answer a publicist steers an actor away from when the goal is selling tickets, not making a political statement. Yeah, but if that's true, on Film Threat, one of the people on Film Threat said like, no, these actors are trained on how to act and behave with the interviewers and the people asking these doofy questions. So that's debatable in itself. Asked about negative online reaction, Millie went further, quote, and the backlash is from a lot of people whose profiles have no photo, who are burner accounts, or someone's name, and then data for Christian, which is hilarious to me. But I mean, whose opinion do you really care about? If you're pissing the right kind of people off, you're doing okay. I mean, that's a dumb thing to say in general. If you want to know how I feel about it, people's opinions that matter, it's very subjective, but movies are a business. As corrupt and as disgusting and evil as the movie industry is, it has to make some kind of money. So it's really, but everybody hates the Christians now. It's just how it is. Why take a swipe at Christian dads or anyone when your career hinges on how many people you can get? Right. The Hollywood press did the movie no favors, asking questions largely unrelated to the film itself, but Alcock took the bait nearly every time. Yeah, it's fucking stupid. Asked about dealing with House of the Dragon fans in the context of her new role, she said it definitely made me aware that simply existing as a woman in that space is something that people comment on. So, yeah, it's all silly bullshit. What does that say? Millie Alcock is no Bruce Springsteen, the boss? What are they talking about? If you're Bruce Springsteen, who punctuates his live shows with anti-Trump political commentary, you can get away with it. If you're a 26-year-old Australian actress on the cusp of the biggest break of her career, you can't. To the baby boomers who grew up on The Boss, his politics are baked in. Oh, they're talking about Bruce Springsteen. That he'd lecture them about it almost expected at this point. I don't even like him that much. I don't know why people like him so much. And I'm not just saying that for the politics. I mean, I'm not crazy about his music. It's kind of boring. It also cost him nothing. The tickets are already sold by the time he opens his mouth, and the loss of future airplay doesn't touch him. He sold his entire... yeah, so like Bruce Springsteen is like... It doesn't matter what his politics are because he's already so deep in money. Supergirl, on the other hand, doesn't come with fond high school memories. Right, like you just have hardcore fans like me and just normie casual people just wanting to see the movie. This can't all be laid entirely on Alcock's feet. The clickbait-hungry entertainment media asked the irrelevant questions in the first place and helped feed the viral pile-on. Yeah, I mean, okay, so this article is just really going off of that. I don't think that's the only reason why the movie has failed. I think it's objectively just a bad movie. That's it, I really do. And word of mouth spread really fast for this movie specifically. Alright, so let's go on. Let's see what else. 5 great Lobo stories. Who cares? New pitch meeting roasts Supergirl's plot holes after box office bomb. 3 hours ago, Supergirl had competing cuts from the director and DC. Are the DCEU's mistakes happening again? So they're talking about creative conflicts. 2 different final cuts? Supergirl is starting to sound like Justice League. Will fans hold out for a gun cut? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So are you telling me that there might actually be a good Supergirl movie in all of this? I won't lie. I will see a different cut if there's the potential of it being better than what they put out in theaters. And look, hear me out on this. I went to see Justice League by Joss Whedon literally when it came out back in like, what was that? 2017, 2018? I can't remember what year it was. And it was atrocious. The Joss Whedon Justice League was so bad that my mom and I walked out of the theaters, right? 3 years later or so, the Snyder Cut came out. Loved it. Like, the Snyder Cut, absolutely amazing. So is it possible that a different version of Supergirl, like coming out on Blu-ray in the future or HBO Max, could be better than the theatrical version? I am completely open to that because I love Batman vs Superman, the extended cut. I loved Justice League Snyder Cut. I have bad taste in movies, guys, yes. So if you give me some kind of a different cut of Supergirl with better music, added scenes that add more context and make more sense of it, give David Cornsweet more screen time, right? If you do shit like that, I'll eat it up, man. I'll love it. You know, I will give it another chance. I will look at it differently because Batman vs. Superman, theatrical cut, hated it. Extended version, I consider amazing. I love that movie. So, do I believe that there's a better cut out there? Is that possible? Let's read what he has to say. The struggles of Supergirl are giving DCEU fans major deja vu, box office woes, creative conflict, and now rumors of multiple final cuts of the film all sound particularly painfully familiar. Now sources report 2 versions of the film made to test audiences. Is history repeating itself? Should fans expect a Snyder Cut style redo? I'll fucking watch that. I mean, not at the movies, though. I'm tired of going to the movies and wasting gas, but I will fucking watch that on my TV. Opening to just 37.1 million, less than the... Okay, we don't need... Supergirl didn't fly. All right, we all know that. We all know that. All right, so we don't need to hear that. One of the most startling stories to slip out from behind the scenes is that virtually up until the release date, Supergirl existed in 2 competing, meaningfully different cuts. One from director Craig Gillespie and one edited by the studio that hit the theaters. Oh, man. Interesting. Production insiders told Hollywood reporters that the Supergirl creative team had ongoing conflicts of vision. Per those sources, those conflicts started out positive, creating creative friction that led to new ideas. By December 2025, however, the situation had worsened to the point of endangering the film's production. The core's issue seems to have been a difference in overall vision between Gillespie and the DC Studios team led by James Gunn. So, like, okay, you know, like, Gillespie might have a better version, bro. I could see that because, like I said, I was actually surprised that it was Gillespie when I looked at his credits because he made, like, a great movie, I, Tonya, with Margot Robbie. That's a really good movie. So I was surprised that, like, this kind of director of that caliber made such a bad movie. So there's a possibility that Gillespie has a better version of this with better music, right? So I'm way open to seeing that anyway. I would love to see the director's vision, right? So that would be very interesting. Because it does seem to be the evidence that James Gunn had came in too much on this movie and ruined it. According to sources, the Supergirl production team took an unusual approach to resolving the conflict. They didn't. Under the guidance of 2 different editors, Tatiana S. Regal and Fred Raskin, Supergirl split in 2. Regal is a longtime Gillespie collaborator, having edited Cruella I, Tonya, and Lars and the Real Girl. Raskin cut all 3 Guardians of the Galaxy films and the Peacemaker TV show for Gunn. The cuts were sufficiently different, and the creative conflicts on the film was sufficiently entrenched, that DC took both cuts to test audiences. The studio's take as edited by Raskin outperformed the Gillespie version by 2 points, so whatever that means. Interestingly, test audiences for both versions were impressed with pacing and song choice, which some Supergirl reviewers and audiences have criticized. Where's the Supergirl Gillespie cut? Given that Supergirl seems to have been treated as 2 different movies throughout production, both dogged by unresolved creative differences between the director and the studio team, DC fans are likely experiencing a shudder of unwelcome recognition. Many of the problems of Supergirl sound just like Justice League, right down to the differing cuts and wildly polarized reviews. Many of those fans are understandably miffed at a film showing production problems the studio and creative team should have outgrown 10 years ago. At the same time, the Justice League comparison might show a way forward. That movie won back a fair share of fans and goodwill after the release of the gargantuan Snyder Cut, and I was one of those fans. So yes, I would like to see this now. Per an X-post by film critic Dan Marcus, while the two Supergirl cuts eventually converged prior to release, there were still significant differences. Gillespie's cut apparently included an alternate opening and more backstory. It remains to be seen if a I would love a better opening. The opening sucks in the theatrical cut. If it remains to be seen if a Gillespie cut of Supergirl exists, and if so, whether audiences care to see it. But between the success of the Snyder cut, upcoming projects featuring breakout DCEU stars like Mr. Terrific, and 2025 Superman turning early performance concerns into audience and streaming success, there's still hope for Supergirl of tomorrow. Wow, and no comments on this one. That was a great article. That got me juiced up. I hope for the sake of my love for just Supergirl the character that there's a better version somewhere down the line. I would see it. Not going to the movies to see it, but I'd love to see it. Alright, so let's move on to the next one here. IGN, 4 hours ago. DC Studios reportedly testing competing cuts. Alright, so this is becoming more of a story. Seems like it might be true. Might be true. I can't see the motive for this. I don't think this kind of news is trying to get people to see the movie. I think this might just be a fact that's coming out, and it's another way of DC trying to save its skin a little bit. Because at least they have the history knowing that they failed with Justice League, how embarrassingly bad that was, the Joss Whedon cut, and they did pretty good with the Snyder cut, and a lot of people love that movie, so they're probably going by that history to save the failure of the theatrical version of Supergirl. So I'm hoping for the sake of Supergirl, the character that I love, that she has at least a little better movie than what they put out. And let's see this last piece. Let me refresh it just to see. I'll just save that article in case it goes away. Let's just refresh this, see if anything else comes up. Nope. Okay, so here's by Giant Freaking Robot article. Warner Bros. Secretly knew Supergirl would bomb. Really? Really? Let's see the... Last year, Superman was a monster hit. Alright, so we don't seem to see all that. As it turns out, that was a shock to everyone except the studio. The Hollywood Reporter has exclusively revealed that Supergirl had a troubled production for many months, one that involved creative clashes between Gunn and director Craig Gillespie. Warner Bros. Apparently had very little faith in Gillespie, whose movie consistently received middling scores from test audiences. Eventually, the studio created its own cut. Alright, so how... Let's see. Faith no more. This was, of course, the clearest sign that Warner Bros. Had lost faith in the director. After they finished testing, where Supergirl received similar scores to Batgirl, wow, a movie the studio ultimately shelved. A source told the Hollywood Reporter that he had to strongly and personally advocate for any changes he wanted to make to the film. Those changes would have been made during the movie's extensive post-production process. During that time, frequent James Gunn collaborator Jeremy Slater was brought in to write additional scenes, all of which were shot during 9 days of additional photography. How were the two cuts different? Craig Gillespie's cut was 11 minutes longer and fleshed out the big bad Krem, who was underdeveloped in the final cut. Gillespie and Gunn also had different opinions on how to use music. The studio cut has a cover of Jimmy Eat World's The Middle during its climactic fight scene, which was horrible, which may have been Gillespie's idea. An earlier cut used a cover of Cyndi Lauper's Girls Just Want to Have Fun, which was Gunn's idea. Well, that would suck too. That's gay. However, it's unclear which song Gillespie put in his cut. Aside from added length and possibly different music, it sounds like the two cuts were largely similar. Oh, alright, well that sucks if that's true. If it's just a couple of different things and it's not like an extended like Batman versus Superman kind of thing or a Justice League kind of thing, then it doesn't fucking matter. So the moral of this story isn't that there's a killer Snyder cut-like version out there that is dramatically different. No, the moral is that Supergirl was a hot mess from the very beginning, with James Gunn and Gillespie butting heads over major creative decisions. The results was the worst of both worlds, a Gunn-style film, but without the charm or the same biting humor. Warner Bros. Knew for many months how bad this film was scoring with test audiences, and they ended up overriding Gillespie and forcing their own cut down our throats. Now they have a box office bomb, whose slow death may just take the entire DCU with it. Dude, all of the mainstream outlets are now saying this. It's amazing. Let's see what some of the people are saying on the comments. Although this article kind of shoots down the excitement of a possibly better extended version. It probably isn't happening. This guy says, in what world was Superman a massive hit? Dennis says, tons of people now on websites are saying they liked it. Michael, we all knew it would fail. It's DC. The only things they have are Batman and Superman origin story. Michael, I really enjoyed the new Superman movie. In fact, I watched it again yesterday. James Gunn brings a unique blend of irreverence and unpredictability to Superman. It was nice to watch and not know what was happening, even for a few moments. And his writing for Clark and Lois was on point. Yes, it was. Thank you. But I'm not sure James Gunn is a producer. We'll see if this experiment works, but so far, the projects where he isn't directly involved aren't as strong. So far, we only have Supergirl. I think that's it, right? Superbomb. Eric, nah, I really don't think so. Let's stop creating and stoking these mythical, unreleased superior director cuts. Just like the DCEU's previous attempt at the Justice League proved, the director cut is not this shelved pure gold missed opportunity, and I really don't think 11 additional minutes and or a few different musical choices would have made a difference. Yeah, but dude, the Snyder Cut Justice League is fucking 4 hours long. That's 2 extra hours added onto the original. So, I mean, not that Supergirl probably has like that kind of an epic extended version, or even like Batman versus Superman, like that's a huge movie, the extended version. But if it does, I'm kind of all for that. But I doubt it. I doubt it. He's probably right. It probably doesn't have anything like that. Daryl, first line of the article says, okay, he's just hitting on that. Fake news. I also knew it would be a failure. What's fake about? I don't understand that. Let it go. Let it go. All right, so that was interesting. Let's move on real quickly. We won't spend too much time on this one. Just some Superman news. Just see what's going on with our boy Supes now. Let me go down a bit. We'll go as far as 14 hours ago. Belgian diamond group that won tariff relief gifted a Trump a lavishly encrusted ring. What does that have to do with Superman? 1 day ago, new Superman set photo reveals best look at Bradley Cooper's DCU character. All right, so I guess Bradley Cooper's going to show up in Man of Tomorrow. Phil Hellmuth arrives at, I don't know who that is. A July 4th Superman touts the better parts of U.S. Don't know what that's about. 5 best times Superman lost his powers. And 9 hours ago, did an overlooked TV show already spoil the 3rd Superman film? I'm kind of curious. What does that have to say? Part of why James Gunn's Superman was such a good movie is that it was a relatively self-contained adventure that still planted interesting seeds for future projects. One of those seeds was the surprise appearance of a party-loving Supergirl, which set her up for her own solo spin-off. Lex Luthor's arrest, meanwhile, set up his fun cameo in Peacemaker, which, yeah, that was cool, and his future appearance in Superman the Man of Tomorrow. We also saw Superman's evil clone disappear into a black hole, which some fans saw as the end of his story. No, dude, he's Ultraman. Ultraman could survive a black hole somehow, maybe go through some multiverses and find his way back to Superman. However, many others are convinced that this is setting him up to be the big bad of a future... Yeah, dude, he's Ultraman. Yeah, I agree with that. That would be cool. For example, it's like he could be a smarter Ultraman now that he's not a part of Lex Luthor's control. Somehow he could become more intelligent and more deadly. For example, it's possible that the clone ended up in a different universe. That universe may be the DCU's version of Earth 2, a world ruled by an evil Justice League. If so, the clone may reappear as Ultraman, who is the leader of that evil league in the comics. Yeah, dude, that would be fucking awesome. However, there's a different theory. Based on his outfit in Superman, yeah, dude, he does look like Doomsday, you're right. The clone may eventually resurface as Doomsday. But, you know, honestly, we had Doomsday in the Snyder universe. I don't think they should do Doomsday again. I just think they should stick with Ultraman and different villains. You know what I mean? We don't need to go back to Doomsday right now. We had enough of that in Snyderverse. That's just how I feel. The villain capable of outright killing him. Yep, it's a cool theory, but if James Gunn chooses to go this route, audience will be unimpressed. Yeah. Why is that? Simple. This exact plot already appeared in the TV show Superman and Lois. Alright, so I guess that's what he's going to say. Early on in Superman, we discover that our titular hero has shockingly gotten his ass kicked by... Alright, so he's going over all of this. We don't need to read all that. Yeah, dude, so he just go... Alright, so he's just saying that we already seen this story, so... Should he return as Doomsday, Ultraman, or even just as himself, it won't be until the 3rd Superman film, at the absolute earliest, of course. We'll be lucky to have a DCU by then, with Supergirl being a critical and commercial flop. Yeah, dude, everyone's saying it. So, I don't know, dude. We'll see. the non-comic reader who wrote this made up all those theories? I don't get it. All right, dude. So, all right, guys, that's the end of this daily news bit. Hope this is nighttime tonight. I was working all day. I had a 10-hour shift. It was a horrible day. So great to be with you guys. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts. Please comment and let me know what you're thinking. Have a good one, guys.